Today we're going to be working on a monochrome still life that is taller than it is wide, so I'm using a vertical piece of paper. Monochrome is a value range that includes color, but only one color. So we're going to start with colored pencils, choosing one color and then adding black and white, or its complement. In my case, I'm working with two brass metallic objects that have some shine to them, and they are both in the yellow ochre range. And so I'm going to be using yellow and yellow ochre, as well as the complement, which is a purple or a lavender, and possibly a lavender blue where it gets warmer. The colors that you have in your set are pretty wide range, but you want to make sure that you have the colors that match the choices of objects that you're going to draw. So double check as you collect objects that you have a good example of that color and its complement. Now, the complements are available for you on the color wheel. You can get a color wheel off the computer. It'll tell you that the opposite of yellow is violet, that sort of thing. It'll also show you this other thing, which is the value range, white through middle gray, and then middle gray through black. So the value range that you can get, white through black, is similar to the value range that you're going to be trying to get with your monochrome palette. Starting with a line drawing, and I got started before you got here, so I'm going to show you. This is my brass bowl. This is the base of my candlestick. I come up, and part of this process is trying to get this curvature, this curvature, this curvature, and these will all be a little deeper than the ones on the top because I'm looking down at them. One of the things about a candlestick is that it needs to be centered and parallel with the edge of the paper. And so what I'm going to do now is make sure that at the bottom it's even with the top. And this will be my center axis for my candlestick. Right? So I know I'm trying to get this curve, this distance, and this distance similar. But that line helps me keep it straight up and down, parallel with the sides of the paper. There's going to be a table front and back. I'm not putting the one in front, but I am going to put the one in back. It's a simple thing, but it's the architecture of the space, so when people understand that the platform is what the objects are sitting on, and everything behind is the air behind it. I'm going to draw some shadows and some highlights, or at least the space for them. All right, now I'm moving over to colored pencils. I can lighten my outer edge with my pencil, with my eraser, in order to make it less clear that it's been pre-drawn. So I can soften all of these lines if I want to. The ones that are in shadow won't be a problem. It's just the ones that are in light that are an issue. So I'm going to be using my yellow for some of the brights and yellow mixed with white for some of the brights. Remember, as you go forward, once you've put white down on something, it will feel different when your pencil goes over it. And so it'll remind you to take note of the fact that you are now working with an area that you had intended to have yellow. In my case, yellow. In your case, blue, red, or some other color. And my bowl is a good example of how I'm going to have to add the complement, which in this case is purple. Let's see if I can find my purple on the sides. Now, why am I not just adding burnt sienna, which would be this color? It's kind of a brown, looks a little bit like the brown over there. The reason I'm adding purple is because it's a cool color and the yellow is a warm color. When you put them together, they become neutral in terms of their color temperature. If I add this color, which is sienna brown, it would just get warmer and warmer and warmer, which for working in shadow is not a good idea. Things that are warmer come forward, and we want our shadows to go back. Now note that I'm leaving some spaces between my lines of yellow. That's because this is not going to be bright yellow like a banana or a lemon. It's going to have a little bit of the purple dispersed throughout. The same thing happens in your other object. You're going to be trying to figure out what the best system is of creating light, middle tone, dark, middle tone, and dark. So that's that range that we were trying to get. So I look first for the darkest areas. I put mine in purple. For my white candle, I will use black, both for the wick, which has been burned, and for the shadows. Taking out my original line around the white that I put in there. I think that probably won't be as useful now. Now I'm going to start blending my purple with my yellow. And at this point, you really want to squint to see where the darkest darks on your bowl are. For me, they're right around here, which means adding a lot more purple. Again, if you have any erasure pieces on your surface, they will make dark dots, so you want to be sure that the back of your paper is clear. Now I am going to break out some of the sienna brown because I'm leaving an area between my highlight and my shadow, which I can make warm because it comes forward. I'm even using a cooler color. Let's see if I can find this. It's just a plain sienna, which will make for darker areas. Now you want to be sure that everywhere that it goes in will be dark, like this area and this area. Even the shadow under here. And sometimes, to make it not quite so yellow, you can even add white on top of it. It knocks it down a little bit and acts as a blending stump. Okay, so there are my two objects. I'm going to make the background just white, which means that I have to make the surface a little gray. And so I'm going to use my black, a little bit of my purple, and a little bit of my blue purple. Overall, the background is darker at the back and gets lighter as it comes forward. All right, so that's it. Choose objects that have white, black, and one color, and also make sure you have a full set of Prismacolor colored pencils, and then you'll be able to use an eraser to smudge and to erase, but also add multiple layers lightly in order to get the colors that you want. Have fun.